Hey there guys, this is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and I believe it is combat time! Ryo, if you're watching, I hope you're watching this, Ryo. But basically, it's time for me to review Mortal Kombat X for the PlayStation 4, which is the latest Mortal Kombat game, as well as the first next-gen one, as well as the first PS4 game I've actually finished, so yay! This one's strange. I'll go ahead and say it. It's strange, and I was originally going to get it on PS3 because I'll go ahead and say again that it's a little more gruesome. It's probably the most gruesome Mortal Kombat game I've ever seen. But I was going to get it on PS3 because I figured, okay, even if it's still gruesome, the graphics will be a little bit lower, so it won't look as gruesome. But then I heard about the PS3 and 360 versions being ported, as opposed to just being worked on by another M studio. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just get it on PS4 then, which I did. So I played it, beat it in like a couple of days, like the story mode at least. That's my definition of beating it, at least. But before I get into the story, because that one's going to take a bit, that's like my main focus here with the game is the story, and so I want to kind of talk a little bit about some other stuff. One thing that was kind of nice that I felt, or rather that I liked, was that they give you all the characters from the get-go, minus obviously Shinnok, because he's, the final boss, so they wanted you to unlock him. And Goro you have to download, though I like that you were able to, he's DLC. I like that he's not just a complete pre-order bonus, because I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to get him, but of course now I will be able to. And I think the Jason Voorhees DLC just came out, so I'll have to get that as well. So that's nice. And graphically, it looks really nice. Like I said, it's more gruesome. I'll try my best to show off a fatality, but I can't promise anything. I mean, I feel like the fatalities, I think they made a little bit easier. And heck, there's the whole thing about them like pay to have easier fatalities or something for like a certain like I think $3 for like 3 or 5 easy fatalities, which is kind of lame, and I'm not doing that, but it is what it is. So yeah, graphics are nice, and I liked how they give you almost every character, at least like the basic versions of them. And, this game has new characters as well, which I'll get into later on once we talk about the story. I like the way they did the crypt, where it was more like a a first-person adventure game in a way. That was kind of cool, because you get to kind of travel. Like first you're in a graveyard, and I ended up going to like this little spidery cave place, and I got the trophy where like this dog thing comes up and scares you, and then a spider comes in and attacks me, and I got Raiden staff, and like, okay, let's teleport. And it's cool. And of course I beat the entire story mode without using any of my coins, so with a K. Coins with a K. So I had a bit of spending money, and I've gotten some stuff. I haven't gotten everything, obviously, and whether or not I plan to, I don't really know. But it's actually kind of nice, and it made the game a little more fun after beating it, because obviously now that I've beaten the story mode, I'm not gonna play it that much, besides maybe like the occasional fights with friends. But the music, I don't remember too much, actually. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was so really, again, the story is kind of what is sort of bringing me in, so I'm gonna hurry up and talk about the other stuff. I really like the designs of the characters for the most part, because obviously they're for the older characters, they're trying to make them look old, which is an interesting point, which I will get to as we continue. But the game itself is actually pretty fun. I personally feel like I'm better at the 3D Mortal Kombat games than I am the 2D ones. In fact, in this one, I actually found that I used the D-pad more than the analog stick. I felt like it made playing the game easier. And if you've seen videos, you'll know that each character has like 3 different styles. You know, kind of like what they did in, like, I think Deadly Alliance up to Armageddon, where they had the extra styles, as well as a weapon. But here it's just like different styles. And they even changed the character's appearance a little bit, like with Liu Kang, where he gets like the dragon, I think it's called Dragon Fist or something. The one where he can actually do like the bicycle kick and like the cool fireball. He gets like these markings on his face. And that's cool. But yeah, and one thing I really liked doing in the story mode was playing as Kotal Khan and doing like this forward stomp that he would do. I didn't really find him that fun to play as in general, but I did like the stomp. It made the fights kind of come to life a little bit, and it was really fun. But anywho, on to the good stuff, because I can't think of anything else to talk about. So we're gonna go on to the story now. Okay, so this story is kind of strange, and I feel like it's partially Ed Boon's fault. Sorry, Ed, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, but I feel like he kind of tricked us a little, because he said, you know, it's both a prequel and a sequel. It takes place both in the past and the present, which made me think that it would do the retelling of Mortal Kombat 4. It would finish up that, like, that would be just sort of like the, oh yeah, and then it would do like a major flash forward, which it still does, but it does things a little differently. It opens a little bit after the whole Shinnok thing, because if you remember Mortal Kombat 9, they do like a teaser like Shinnok is in like the spiritual form, and he's like, I'm going to take over the world one day or something. At this point in Mortal Kombat X, the beginning, it takes place like during the big fight, the quote-unquote war against Shinnok with Johnny Cage. He's the first character you play as, and he's kind of enlisted in the army. And Johnny Cage is, I'll get to him in a second. He's a pretty big case. But, and he's with Sonya Blade, and, you know, Shinnok and Quan Chi have taken over control of Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Kitana, I believe, are the ones. And so they have to fight their friends. They defeat Quan Chi and Shinnok, and they're able to seal Shinnok into this amulet thing with the power of Raiden as well, I think. And Jax, he gets restored. I think the way I'm actually kind of confused on this a little bit. Like, because Kung Lao, Liu Kang, and Kitana, they're still evil, and I think it's because they're under Quan Chi's control, or like since Quan Chi was the one controlling them, they didn't like turn back good or something. And I think it's also partially because they may not want to be turned back good. I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure. A lot of people are kind of debating over what exactly is the deal, due to a part that I'll explain later on. But you know, they beat Shinnok. Sonya and Johnny Cage show some spark. It's like, good job, Johnny. Oh, that's the first time you called me Johnny. Heh heh heh. Suck my cock. I told you I could do horror films. But then it like jumps forward to a few years later. Johnny Cage is now like this leader of this like younger group, including his daughter Cassie. I'm pretty sure it's Cassie because he calls her Cass. So I think it's Cassie Cage. Then it's Kunjin, Jackie, who is Jax's daughter, and by the way, Kunjin is Kung Lao's cousin. And then there's also Takeda, or Takeda as they say, who I find him very interesting because he's the son of Kenshi. He's trained by Scorpion in the Shirai Ryu, or Shirai Ryu as they say. Like, I can handle Raiden, but Shirai Ryu and Takeda were like, those were tough. But to me, he kind of looks like Liu Kang. And his armor looks kind of robotic, like he's trying to be like Cyrax or something. But I don't even. He's probably Takeda or whatever. He's probably my favorite out of the new characters, just because to me he kind of represents those different characters. But anyway, they're trying to get the amulet 'cause they apparently lost it, I believe. And also find Quan Chi because they want to bring back Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Kitana from the evil side. They've brought back Jax, so he's a good guy again. But they're trying to kind of, for lack of a better term, they're trying to, you know, fine-tune the world's peace, I guess. And you know, at this point, we get main character development from the new characters. Like they go to they meet a Sub-Zero, or who doesn't wear his mask anymore, and he's voiced by Steve Bloom, and he has a beard. That's one thing about this game. A lot of the old characters, particularly the men, have beards. Johnny Cage doesn't, though. Even in like his past self, he still looks kind of young. That's one thing I kind of wish they had fixed. Like, he still looks kind of old. I mean, I guess the point being is that he was a little bit older from the original game, but you know, he still should probably try to look a little younger and not middle-aged. But, you know, they end up going to, you know, Outworld. You'll have to forgive me about the story. If you've listened to the podcast, that was even more disjointed. This one I feel like is a little more organized because I've already talked about it. And I mainly am focused on, like, the general meat of the story rather than the little details. But they go to Outworld, and, you know, they're Kodo Khan. He's, like, the new leader of Outworld. And Melina is doing, like, political warfare against him. And the reason why is because she wants to become the ruler of Outworld. Because she's the, She sees herself as the only heir to Shao Kahn's rule, which I feel is not necessarily true because Kitana is Shao Kahn's daughter. Not even, and I know she's a good guy. Of course, that's not even true anymore either because now she's evil. Even if she's being quote-unquote manipulated. And I say that in quotes just because, again, the theory that Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Kitana don't necessarily want to turn good again because they're kind of mad at Raiden. Plus the fact that even if Melina wasn't a clone of Kitana, she would be like the younger sister. So she would still have to go through Kitana. But I don't know. I guess like it doesn't really matter anymore. And anyway, a short story is that they capture her and whatnot. They get the amulet back. She apparently has it, I think. And she's trying to use Shinnok's power, or the amulet's power, to gain control. One of the new characters, Devora, who's sort of like Kodo Khan's butler or maid or something, kills her by making out with her and vomiting bugs all over her face, which it was both kind of sexy and gross. And they show like the maggots and whatnot eating her face off, and it's I was a little, because normally maggots kind of gross me out, but here they didn't. So she's dead. She gets killed. And so they get the amulet back and whatnot. You know, they the other team, they capture Quan Chi, or yeah, they capture Quan Chi. Basically, everything's going well. But then friggin' Scorpion comes back. And I know I'm kind of skipping over a big thing with Scorpion as well, but I'm going to get to the more details on the newer characters later on, as I do my story wrap-up, quote-unquote. This is like the story synopsis. Scorpion comes in, and, you know, he's mad at Quan Chi because he meets with Sub-Zero, where it's at this point that we learn that this Sub-Zero is not the same Sub-Zero as like before, because, you know, for those who remember, you know, both old Mortal Kombat and new Mortal Kombat timeline, there's more than one Sub-Zero. There's more than one Sub-Zero. The first one is the one that turns into smoke, then the other one is like the main Sub-Zero, and of course in Mortal Kombat 9, that Sub-Zero turns into Cyber Sub-Zero, who I didn't even know was a. I don't even remember him dying. I guess I don't know. Maybe he died in the fight or something. But I think it would have been cool to have him back or something. But basically, this is a new Sub-Zero that we're dealing with, and so Scorpion goes to meet with them because he wants to. He's still mad at Sub-Zero because he thinks that Sub-Zero, the first Sub-Zero, killed his wife and child. I don't remember if it's a son or daughter, but Sub-Zero, he explains that he really wants peace between the Lin Kuei and the Shiryu or the Shirai Ryu or whatever. Like, this is the one instance where Japanese pronunciation doesn't matter because it's like, I kind of see Mortal Kombat as being from a story standpoint, being sort of like a parody of like Americanized kung fu movies with mispronunciations and whatnot. I know that's weird to call it a parody, or like a tribute rather, or just another Americanized kung fu movie, but especially with Warner Brothers backing them. But that's beside the point. Basically, they become friends again. I say again, but they become friends, and Scorpion learns that Quan Chi is the one who was in control, so now Scorpion's like, I want to kill Quan Chi. And remember, this is after they've captured Quan Chi, mind you. And the whole reason why they want to capture Quan Chi is because Raiden's power combining with his being Quan Chi, they can break the control of Liu Kang and whatnot, but only if Quan Chi is alive. That's something they established that I feel like a lot of people seem to forget when discussing this game's story. The despelling will only work if Quan Chi is still alive. So, plus other factors like, again, the theory that Liu Kang and the gang don't really want to turn back good, which Liu Kang kind of hints at in the story when he talks to Raiden at one point. He's like, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad you killed me because you set me free. It's like he feels relieved in a way, and so he's changed. But basically, Scorpion kills Quan Chi, but I think I remember it turned. If I mentioned this earlier, I apologize. But if not, basically, Devora turns out she's working for Quan Chi and Shinnok anyway, and so she gets the amulet to Quan Chi, and basically Shinnok comes back, and of course Quan Chi is dead. So the people who are still under his control, they get transferred over to Shinnok, so they work for Shinnok now, which is another reason why Liu Kang and the gang did not turn back to good when Quan Chi was killed, because their possession or whatever was transferred over to Shinnok. So that's my reasoning, at least. I know some people may not necessarily agree. I don't even know if that's correct or not, but so then, now they have to fight Shinnok, and at this point, the story kind of goes to like typical beat the bad guy and whatnot. Shinnok turns like super goat demon thing, and he's like the final boss. I think they call him Corrupted Shinnok, and he's trying to get ultimate power from this thing called Jinsei, and it's in Raiden's temple. And it's funny because they show a scene of like Liu Kang and the gang like pushing around Raiden, like they're literally pushing. It's like they're literally bullying him. It's kind of funny. And at this point, Raiden kind of loses his shit and beats up all of them. And this is pretty important for the epilogue, but anyway, so like they defeat Cassie defeats Shinnok, and that's that. Yep, that's the friggin' ending. I actually was kind of mad about that because I wanted more. I'm just like, oh, I thought that maybe like they were trying to sort of like do a thing where the old generation bridges into the new generation, and then after they beat Shinnok, the new generation officially starts. But no, so it's literally like both a reimagining of Mortal Kombat 4 as well as a complete change to the entire story. So I feel like at this point, the story will be different. So like when Mortal Kombat 11 comes out, it'll be a completely different story. But I'll get to the story significance of the general game later on, because I actually have a bit of a thing to say about that. But like I said before, the new characters get like some, or at least Takeda and or Takeda and Kunjin. Kunjin being Kung Lao's cousin, he's sad that Kung Lao died, and like so he robs Raiden's house and steals an heirloom, and fights Raiden there, and that happens. And with Takeda or whatever, he gets trained by Scorpion, so he's a Shiraiyu or Shirairyu or fuck. That's gonna bother me. And he's the son of Kenshi, and he's training under Scorpion. They become pretty good buddies, and Takeda considers Scorpion a surrogate father. Then Kenshi comes back, and he's like, "What the fuck, Daddy? You left me, meh. Then they become friends. And they do show a fair amount of flashbacks as well, especially with the Liu Kang and Kung Lao and whatnot. And Baraka shows up, and Rain's there, and Reptile, and Melina. You already know that Melina's there, but so it's not like they definitely give plenty of backstory, and it's kind of interesting because Scorpion is called by his actual name, Hanzo Hasashi. And so I find that kind of interesting how he kind of has like this entire shift in character. Not only does he not talk with sort of like that demonic sound, like it's still, I think, Patrick Seitz doing his voice, but it's a different kind of performance. Like, it's just sort of like this noble hero. And even when they're trying to break Quan Chi free, like, Scorpion's like, don't kill them. Don't kill the good guys. And it's interesting how he suddenly has this, like, switch in alignment. I still feel like he's still kind of neutral. It's pretty clear he's neutral, especially with the fact that he's willing to screw everyone over just to kill Quan Chi, just to make himself feel better. But it's still interesting, nonetheless, I think. And because of that, I kind of like him a little bit more, though he's not the character that I am the most surprised about. Johnny Cage is. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Johnny Cage, I do not find that funny. To me, he's just the typical, like, comic relief goofball, I think I'm better than everyone character. And he had his moments, like the whole dun-dun-dun thing, and, Mortal Kombat 9, as well as the crazy with the K. Like, he had his moments, but here I feel like he's a lot, for lack of a better term, better, in my opinion. And it's really because of, like, one scene. I mean, he is more responsible because he is older, and that's something I kind of expected. Like, even in the trailers, he kind of came off as being just generally sarcastic, but he was still a little more controlled. And he even wears like a t-shirt over his Johnny tattoo, which kind of shows that he has a bit more class now. But the thing that really got me, because if you've seen the trailer where they revealed like the Cage family, Johnny Cage says like something my ex-wife. So they reveal that Sonya and Johnny Cage are actually divorced, and I feel like that is so Johnny. That sounds so like him, to get divorced from his wife and have like another wife that's probably a celebrity somewhere else. But his stance on the divorce is a little different. He's actually the one who is sort of like, you weren't there for our kids. It's very interesting. He's like, you were too busy with work. And there's even one scene where Sonya's talking to Cassie over the radio, and he's like, Sonya, it's like, I appreciate what you're doing, Cassie, but I really need you back. And it's like he's having to sort of like parent her as one. It's really interesting. It really is interesting how he's sort of had this 180, and because of that, I have a bit more respect for him, because it just really shows that he's matured and grown as a character. He's still sarcastic, I think, but I just think he's a better character, honestly. That's just how and because I really like him a lot. And it's not like he doesn't wear the sunglasses anymore or anything like that. I know it's a little bit late, but in the actual story mode, he doesn't wear his sunglasses anymore. In the actual versus mode, he does, which I'll use to segue into the fact that in terms of the game, the story is not necessarily canon, because, with Scorpion, obviously in the story mode, he looks different. But if you've seen like the actual like promotional art for Scorpion, then you'll see like, okay, traditional Yellow Ninja Scorpion. And the story mode, he doesn't look like that. But in the game, that's still a playable character. Same with Sub-Zero. And Liu Kang, he has an older, not corrupted version. Same with Katana, and same with Kung Lao. And I find that very interesting and strange how, like, in terms of, like, the actual game, the story just doesn't matter. I'm kind of getting a bit of a... I got this vibe from Soul Calibur 5 and Mortal Kombat 9, so I feel like this might be a new trend where, like, the story is just there for those who just want a story, but the actual main part of the game is is not the story. In fact, you could argue there's a separate story going on that players maybe make up, like, oh, maybe Katana and Liu Kang got married and had kids or something. But that's my main gripe with the general story, is that one, it doesn't really seem to matter in the long run, as well as the fact that it just seems to kind of cut off too short. And there is an epilogue where they show a darker, evil version of Raiden. He's even like wearing darker clothes, and he has like black fingernail polish and whatnot. He's like, no more am I nice. Now I'm gonna be evil. If you fuck with me, I'll fuck you up, and there will be no mercy. Here, look at Shinnok, and he pulls out Shinnok's like ripped head, or like head that's been ripped off, and he throws it on the floor, and he's just like, you can't kill an elder god. This is worse than hell. And then it pans to behind the head, and it shows from the bottom, and it shows 2 feet walking towards it. And then it goes up, and it shows Liu Kang and Katana. And it seems like they've become the rulers of, like, the Netherrealm or whatever. So Liu Kang has kind of become the antagonist now, and Raiden is also sort of, like, switched alignments. And that's one of the reasons why I think that the next Mortal Kombat game will have a completely original story. Because it's just going to be different, I think. Unless there's another part of the story that hasn't been told yet. I mean, this game only came out, like, in April, so it's been a while. Or so it hasn't been that long, in my opinion. But so we'll have to see kind of how things go. And it'll be interesting to see where the series goes. I'm kind of more interested in Mortal Kombat than it's kind of back to when I was a kid, when I was really into it, even though I sucked at the games. I'm now really into... I kind of want to see what Ed Boon has in store for us, and he's teased some DLC. Like, I know we're gonna get Predator, and a recent thing came out about Jean-Claude Van Damme being potential DLC, which is meta as fuck and kind of ironic. And also maybe a story pack for characters who were only in the story mode. I hope there's an expansion to the story, because I really want to know more about what's going on, but I guess we'll just have to wait. But that's okay. You know, I'm willing to wait. We've waited for this game a while. But, yeah. Overall, I like it. I really like this game. I just think the story's a little weird, and it doesn't really seem to matter in terms of the general game, since we've got the unevil version of Liu Kang and Kung Lao with beards and gray hair, as well as the story being kind of cutting off, I think, as well as a bit of a cliffhanger. And though we've got some cool new people, at least, and Aaron Black I think is kind of cool, because I feel like Ermac I feel like it's kind of transcended the red version of Scorpion, because I feel like Smoke and Noob I felt like still kind of had like that altered version of Scorpion thing going for them, but Ermac, he didn't, and I feel like Reigns kind of did, and I feel like Aaron Black, the gunslinger guy, he kind of reminds me of like a red ninja. I think it's just because of his little face mask thing. I don't know. It probably was just there because. But yeah. I don't know. It's definitely something. And I would recommend this game for any of you guys who want to get it. But yeah, that's what I think about Mortal Kombat X, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It'll hopefully be up soon. Things are kind of getting in the way with my schedule, but we'll see. I'll try to have it up relatively soon. But yeah, this is Flames Ron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, signing out. See you later.